Well, hello everyone. I am back on here again with some great motivating, inspiring, encouraging, and more importantly, empowering message, that I'm sharing with you guys today in order to help you to understand a little bit more about what teen dating violence is. So if you haven't been following me long enough, my name is Coach Jackie. I am actually a survivor as well of domestic violence, which is what we're going to be talking about. Did you know that February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month? Did you know that? If you didn't know that, I'm glad I'm here to share this information with you. And you probably didn't know that because it may not be a lot of people on social media that's talking about it. But I'm that girl. I am that chick. I will talk about it because I know that it's so important. It's very, very valuable. We need to be educated in regards to dating abuse, dating violence, which are words that you may hear me say. You may have heard other people say that it can be used interchangeably. So I'm going to share this information with you today. And I'm hoping that you got your pen and paper together so that you're taking down notes. I would highly, highly recommend that you go to my previous videos that I did on Friday and Saturday. And then here is Sunday, right? So if you're taking notes, go back to Friday's notes, go back to Saturday notes and videos and take notes on those 2 days on Friday and Saturday. I shared great information about what teen dating violence is. That was on the first day on Friday. We talked yesterday about the different forms of abuse. And now today we are actually talking about what are the most common tactics that abusers use that are actually a part of in terms of the forms, right? So we already talked about the different forms of abuse. And so now I'm going to share with you as far as the tactics that are used, because not only is it enough for you to know the different forms, but you need to know what are some things that are done in order to accomplish what you have to use the tactics. They're using the tactics in order to accomplish what they set out to do, which is to inflict one or more of those common forms that we talked about on yesterday. So excuse me if I'm sounding a little jumbled up with my words, but I've actually been doing this for probably since 2017, right? So sorry about that. I'm kind of feeling a little rushed. I was supposed to be on here before, and I want to make sure that I get this information into you. And I also have to go onto my Instagram page and do a video, as well as TikTok and as well as YouTube before the night is over with, right? So if I'm feeling a little rushed or sounding a little rushed, I apologize. Let me kind of digress and take a little bit of breath. So that way I'm not rushing through, because I don't want to mess this up. And I really, really want you guys to get this information. I'm also going to kind of share some little examples as we're talking, because I think the examples actually help you to digest the information that I'm sharing with you. And it also helps you to understand a little bit better on what, as far as the message that I'm sharing with you, right? It helps you to understand, wow, like I can put this in real life, scenarios, right? In my own life. This is what you're probably saying to yourself, like, wow, I think so-and-so is going through this because of what Jackie said, right? She mentioned about these different tactics, and it's like, oh, okay, I think that's what so-and-so is going through. So this is what I want you to be able to do. I want you to be able to hear the information that I'm sharing with you, and I want you to be able to relate it into your situation, whether it be your personal life with you or with, someone that you know in your circle, or if it's somebody that maybe that you work with and they've shared some information with you, right? I really, really want you to be able to identify what it looks like, okay? And so what we're going to be talking about today, there's probably more, okay? But I usually stick with these 8 different common, and I have to say common because I found them to be true in the scenarios that I'm going to share with you, but also more importantly of where I got the information from, right? So that would be from my life experience. That would be from me as a life coach and the different clients that I've spoken to through the years, and getting information from them, and kind of summing everything up, doing like a summary, I guess you want to say, and it's not so much I'm taking a survey, but I want to say the summary, the sum of all of the conversations that I've had. These 8 different tactics seem to stand out overwhelmingly. Okay. And so that's why I said these are the most common tactics that I've seen, that I've even experienced some of these tactics, and I'll share that information with you, right, as we go along. So even with my education of, what I've learned as going to school to be a social worker and then working in the field with domestic violence, with teaching classes or facilitating, if you want to say, as far as life skills and teaching about healthy relationships, about domestic violence. And, just through the years, my years of experience, I have about 10 years in the field with domestic violence. And so just hearing the different stories and, talking to so many people over the course of 10 years, actually last year made 10 years. So this is like going on my 11th year that I've been in the field of dealing with clients or working with individuals and teaching on the subject of domestic violence, right? So it's very, very valuable, the information that I'm sharing, and I like to kind of share that backstory so that way you have a better understanding of why I teach the way that I do, or why my videos are the way that they are, the information that I'm sharing, where am I getting this information from? Why do I have so much passion with what I'm sharing with you? It's because of everything that I just shared with you. And then also, I believe that God has given me the grace, given me the purpose to be able to do the work that I do in order to help as many people as I possibly can. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump on into these 8 different or common tactics that abusers use in order for them to accomplish the different forms of abuse that they are impacting our life with, or have impacted our life with, right? So I want to share this information with you, but I will tell you that in this video, we're not going to talk about all 8. We're only going to talk about 4. And then on another video, we'll talk about the additional 4, okay? Because I don't want to just rush through it and share the information. I really want you to really get the understanding of what it is that I'm talking about, okay? And like I said, I'm going to share some little scenarios or examples too with it, okay? And so that way you can process it. So now let's talk about, so the first one we're going to talk about is the obvious one, which is control, right? So abusers like to control the person that they're in a relationship with. Why do they want to do this? It gives them power. It validates them. It gives them a sense of being able to run the situation, run the relationship, right? They want to be in control. And if you remember when I shared with you on Friday, the definition, and I also shared with you on yesterday, the definition of domestic violence is a pattern of abusive behaviors that is displayed by one person in the relationship who is trying to gain or maintain power and control over that other person. Okay, so that is the definition. That kind of breaks it down, because the longer version of the definition can get a little convoluted in the definition. So just to kind of break it down to you, to help you to understand it, that's pretty much what it is, okay? And when I say it can be a little convoluted, is because the definition was changed back in 2018. And so it was changed to be a much longer version of it, but to kind of break it down in order for you to digest it better is pretty much what I shared with you today, okay? So when we look at in terms of control, that's what that individual is wanting to do, is to gain the control. If they are in a relationship with somebody that is a passive person, is someone that don't want to argue, somebody that's, as what we would say, a person that's easy to get along, the abuser may look at that person and say, that's a weak individual, right? That's the person that I want. I want somebody who's going to be submissive to me, okay? Because majority of the time, and I've heard people say all the time, but I'm just going to say this, not every narcissistic person is an abuser. Okay, because if you look up what that word, let's go and look this up, okay? So I'm going to look up the word narcissistic. And I've heard a lot of people say that all abusers are narcissistic, okay? So let's look up and see what a narcissistic person is. We all have some narcissism in us. And just listen to what I'm saying. And I've had people to disagree with me on this, but I'm just going to tell you what is the definition of someone that is a narcissistic person, okay? Let me go up here. And I'm probably going to get, like I said, a lot of people that's going to say, no, that's not true. That's not true. So we can all fall into this, and we don't have to be abusers. A narcissist is a person who has an excessive interest or admiration of themselves. That could be a person that is cocky. That could be a person that is a vain person. That could be somebody that is stuck on themselves, somebody that we even say is a bougie person, especially if they are a selfish individual, right? So when you look at narcissist, that's what the definition is. It also says a narcissist who think the world revolves around them. Those are selfish people, right? Narcissists preening themselves in front of the mirror. How many people do you know, men that are metrosexual, right? That are primping in the mirror, that are checking to make sure their beard is together, their hair is together, that their clothes is fitting. You could say that person is a narcissistic person because they're putting in the admiration of themselves. And then if they take it a step further and they're putting themselves above everybody else, right? And they are a selfish individual. That is, according to the definition, that's what a narcissistic person is. So we can't say that every abuser is a narcissistic person. I've heard that said many times. I don't fully agree with that because, like I said, you don't have to be a narcissistic person to care about yourself and to put admiration on yourself or, to put yourself above somebody else and be an abuser. You don't have to be that way, but you could still be considered a narcissistic person, right? So just something to kind of think about. Okay. I want you to really think about what I just said. Now it can go a step further. And that person can become an abuser. If they're trying to gain or maintain power and control over somebody else and they are stuck on themselves, they're putting themselves up on a higher level. They are making themselves, in a place of being where they want you to bow down to that person, right? Become submissive to that individual. And they are putting themselves up as saying, well, I'm the king of the house, or, I'm the man of the house. You got to listen to me. You got to do everything I'm telling you. Those words that I'm sharing with you are abusive behaviors or abusive thoughts, right? Abusive behaviors that a person would have. Okay. And they could be a narcissistic person. They don't have to be somebody that is stuck on themselves or think themselves as being higher than the next person. And they can still be an abuser. Okay. So I don't want you to just focus just on all abusers are narcissistic. Okay. You have to understand what that definition is. Okay. I'm not changing the definition. I'm just telling you what the dictionary is telling me, that this is what a narcissistic person is. Okay. This is what their thoughts are. Now, can they be an abuser? Yes, absolutely. They can be an abuser, but not all narcissistic person are, right? People are, because you think back to some time, you may have been this cocky kind of person, when it comes to sports. Oh, I think I'm this, I think I'm that. It's a narcissistic person. Let me just read this definition again, okay? A narcissist, okay, is a person who has an excessive interest or admiration of themselves. It doesn't say anything about this person being an abuser right now, okay? So it's a person that has an excessive interest in or admiration of themselves. How many people do you know that are stuck on themselves, that are selfish individuals? Those individuals could be, based on this definition, could be considered what? A narcissistic person, right? It didn't say anything about abusing. This is what it said. Okay, this is what the definition says. So like I said, I really want you to look at that. Now, when we look at in terms of, we can go deeper and go into somebody having being a narcissistic person with personality disorders. When we get into talking about disorders that are associated with a narcissistic person, then we're looking at something different. Okay. Now let me just share another bit of information with you. So let's see. I'm going to search this. Okay, so now I love going to Psychology Today. Okay, they have a lot of great information It's a great resource if you're looking to get some information. Okay. So this is what I'm going to read. It says, nowadays, many people who write about emotional abuse consider all abusers to be narcissists. Okay. But this is simply not true. While some abusers can be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder or have narcissistic tendencies, many have another personality disorder entirely. Okay. So now this is getting into the disorder side of that, where the person has mental health challenges as well as being a narcissistic person. Okay. Like I said, having narcissistic personality disorders, there is a difference. Okay. So I wanted to just put this out there because I have heard it said many times. Even when I teach on narcissists, I don't say all narcissistic people are abusers because I don't believe that. Okay. So I wanted to just kind of put this out there to kind of clear up any disclaimers that, somebody may be saying, oh, all narcissistic people are abusers. That is not true. According to the dictionary, okay, according to Psychology Today, my question was, are all narcissistic people abusers? And the answer came back, not true. Okay, and I just read to you what it says. It says, nowadays, many people who write about emotional abuse consider all abusers to be narcissists. But this is simply not true. Okay, so you've heard it from me. I'm reading it from Psychology Today. They're talking about it. So I want you to make sure that you have the true understanding about it. Okay, now, like I said before, are some narcissistic people abusers? Yes, they are, but not all. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so now let's go ahead. So we talked about the control. Now I know this is probably going to raise a whole lot of questions in regards to, and I'm going to have one or two questions at the end of before this video is over with. Okay. But I know this is going to pose some questions for people that are going to see this video, and they're going to be like, no, I disagree with you. And that's totally fine, right? That is totally fine if you decide to do that. But with the 10 years of experience that I have in education that I've accumulated over the 10 years of working in the field and talking to psychiatrists, therapists, individuals that are survivors of domestic violence, and just with the research that I found, this is what I'm sharing with you. Okay, so you remember what I said on my page, you're going to get the truth. I'm going to be very authentic with you. I'm going to be transparent and unashamed and share the information because I want you to be knowledgeable about it, right? And I usually say armed and dangerous, right? So I want you to have the information, okay? So the next one I'm going to talk about is manipulation. So this is another tactic that individuals use in order to manipulate the person that they're in a relationship with, in order for them to get things that they want the person to do, whether that is controlling the person on, and I'm going to use this control and a manipulation in the same, or put it together. Okay. So in terms of telling you what you can wear, what you can't wear, if you can wear makeup, if you can't wear makeup, and they'll manipulate you into saying, you like the way that look? And then you'll say, oh, well, yeah, I like the way that look. Oh, well, I don't think that look right on you. They'll say something like that. That's manipulation in order to make you feel like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't wear the clothes I have on, or maybe I shouldn't put that makeup on, right? And if they keep doing this over time, then they're going to start saying, well, I don't want you wearing this. I don't want you wearing those clothes. I don't want you putting on that makeup, right? Then it's going to turn into a control thing. In the beginning, it's going to be, in some situations, not all, okay, in some situations, it can be a suggestive situation or thought that they have towards you, or a manipulation one, right? Or something where they'll ask you, which is, like I said, do you think that looks nice on you? You think that fits your body shape? They'll say things like this in order to make you think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't wear this, right? Or yeah, I think this looks good. And then it'll change and be something different. Okay. So they'll try to manipulate you out of your money. They'll try to manipulate you out of working, right? Out of you going to school to further your education. They'll try to manipulate you into having children, okay, or not having children, right? So those are some other manipulating tactics that a person will use as far as getting your money from you, getting you to stop being around your family. They'll say things like, you know, your family don't like me. So I'm not going around them, right? Or every time I'm around your family, I feel so uncomfortable. It feels like people talking about me, or I see them in the corner. They'll say things like this in order for them to use that in a way to get you to start thinking like, okay, well, I don't want my, significant other to feel uncomfortable around people, so around my family. So maybe I just won't go to this event, right? So if they can do that, they're slowly getting you to pull back away from your support system. Okay, and we're going to talk about that a little later. So then another thing would be humiliation. So they'll say things to you as far as like how you look, if you are new with cooking, or if they don't, they may say some things like if you are in a way where maybe you may be putting too much seasoning in your food or maybe overcooking your food. They'll say things to you in order to get a laugh. They'll say it in front of the kids. I experienced that when I was new in my marriage, right? Where he would say things about how the food that I cooked, or it had too much seasoning in it, or maybe I overcooked it or something like that. He would say things like that in front of the kids. And then even if we had friends over, he would say things like that. And it's just like, wow, why would you put me out there like that, right? And then the kids would say stuff like, oh, mama, did you cook today? Oh, is it salty? Oh, is it, did you burn it? The kids would say stuff like that, not knowing that was bothering me, right? Because I was new. You figure I was early into my marriage, and I hadn't really had a lot of experience of cooking because I stayed at home with my mom until I was probably, about 20, maybe about 26 years old. And then I moved out because it was just the two of us. She lived downstairs and I had the upstairs in the house that was hers, that we grew up in, right? So it was no big rush for me to move out, and for me to, move out and get my own place, because with my older daughter there, just the two of us, I had the whole upstairs, which was about 4 or 5 bedrooms upstairs. And then the downstairs, my mom had the downstairs. So why was I trying to leave, right? And really the reason why I moved out is because he was living with his sister, didn't have a place to stay. And so I moved out and got an apartment, and eventually he moved in together. So me doing something good at that time turned out to be a negative later on in the marriage, of him saying things like this. And I didn't look at it like that right away, as that was, like a dig or something, right? Like he was saying something to try to hurt me, because I kind of chuckled about it too. But then when I noticed that it continued on, and off and on, it would happen, and I was just like, wow, that kind of hurt my feelings, especially when the kids started saying stuff about it, right? And I was like, okay, well, let me call my mama up so she could tell me how to cook this food, or call my brother-in-law so he can help me to cook, so I can stop making meals that he's going to say something about, right? So at least I tried to take another step. But in the end, the humiliation was still there. You follow me? And it still hurt me, right? It still made me feel bad that he was saying these things. So, there are different things that can happen as far as, like I said, the way you dress, or, they can, if they're about your size, they can say something about that. Maybe you may have a birth defect or something that's visible, and the person may say something about that and make it a joke, or all of their jokes, you're going to be the brunt of the joke. So those are other ways to humiliate the person, right? And they'll laugh about it, and everybody else around will laugh, and you're just sitting there like, well, I don't think that's funny. Or you might laugh too to not feel embarrassed, right? You may laugh to not feel like, well, he was, it's a dig to you that what he just said, right? That he just shot you down, or she just shot you down, however whatever the dynamics of your relationship. And instead of that, sometimes we laugh with the crowd instead of feeling like we're not a part of the crowd, right? But in the end, that still does bother you. So the other tactic is being for the person to intimidate you. Okay, so that means they're trying to put fear there. They're trying to make you feel, like you. I'm going to take this a step further. So the intimidation would make you feel as though you need that person. Okay. So they're going to say things to you to make you feel like you need them, but it's really where they're trying to put that fear in you. Like, you wouldn't be anything if I wasn't here, or, if I leave, then what you going to do? How you going to take care of these kids? So they'll say things like this to make you feel like you're not of value. Okay. And so that's a part of the intimidation. That's a part of the humiliation. That's a part of the manipulating, right? And the controlling of that person. So these are the first 4 tactics that we talked about. So we talked about control, we talked about manipulation, we talked about humiliation, and also intimidation, right? So on next video that we're going to talk about, we'll talk about the other 4. And so I'll share those with you on the next video, what we're going to be talking about, okay? But I do want you, I hope that you've been writing this information down, that it's been very, very valuable for you. And keep in mind of what I said to you about that word narcissist, okay? I really want you to do your research. I want you to look it up, because the people on social media will have you thinking that every abuser is a narcissistic person. And you know what that's going to do? That's going to cause you to miss the signs of somebody that is not a person that's stuck on themselves, is not a person that's selfish, is not a person that feels like they're all that in a bag of chips. You're going to look past that person and miss the signs, because you're expecting the person to be someone that's full of themselves, that's a cocky person, that's a selfish person. You're looking for that person to be the abuser, to fit that mold of an abuser, right? And then you're going to miss the person, as they say, the quiet person. You're going to miss that person as being an abuser, and they have traits of that too. Okay, they have signs of that as well, of what their behaviors are saying to you and doing to you. Okay, so keep that in mind. Don't be fooled by what you hear on social media about all abusers being a narcissistic person. Keep that in mind, okay? So with that being said, guys, I have shared a lot of information with you. I hope it's been informative. It's been motivating, encouraging, and as I always say, more importantly, empowering to you, okay? So I want you guys to join me on tomorrow is Monday. So I'm trying to see how should I do a video on tomorrow? I think I probably should, and maybe just do it early, because we'll have our 6:30 p.m. Video tomorrow, which we're going to still be talking about healing. We're going to continue on our journey talking about emotional healing. We'll talk about that on tomorrow, okay? And then I'm thinking about earlier for me to do the video in regards to this, and then you just have to go back and watch it, okay? Because Tuesday I can't do it. I have another meeting another training that I have to go to, a team training, so I won't be able to do it on Tuesday. And Wednesday will be church, so I can't do it on Wednesday. And then Thursday again will be the video that we're going to be doing. So I'm thinking Thursday I may have to make a change, because I have a meeting on Thursday, and I probably won't be able to do Thursday's video, but I will let you know for sure. And if we have to put it off until Friday's video, then I'll make a way for that to happen, okay? And I'll keep you all informed. So with that being said, I will send out a message tomorrow and let you know what time I'm going to do the teen dating violence video, because you do need to get this information, and we still got to talk about resources. We still got to talk about why individuals are abusers. All of that information has to be discussed, okay? So I may have to do video above video. I may have to do that. So, but I'll let you know for sure, okay? I'll send out a post. So look forward to seeing that post on my page, so that way you'll know when I'm going to go live and do a video, okay? With that being said, guys, you have a great night. And if you're following me on Instagram, come on over to Instagram, because I'm going over there to do this video as well. Have a great night. Bye-bye.